Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. The window to invest in Fanbase is closing. We've raised over $10.6 million of our $17 million goal. That means there's room for less than 6,370 people to invest in Fanbase for the average amount. The minimum to invest in Fanbase right now is $399. That makes you an owner in Fanbase today. Go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest. Why? Because current social apps have taken advantage of users for far too long, with content suppression, shadow banning, harmful racist content, and no real tools for monetization and equity. Fanbase has over 1.4 million users and counting, allowing anyone to reach all their following and monetize their content from day one. Social media is the new TV, and whoever owns the apps that distribute that content have the opportunity to own potential billion-dollar companies. While big platforms with uncertain futures are failing to serve their users, Fanbase is stepping up to fill the gap. Don't wait until it's too late. Invest now, invest for yourself and your future. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and own the next generation of social media.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Hold no punches.
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig? Today is Monday, May 5th, 2025. Coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network, the federal racketeering and sex trafficking trial of Sean Diddy Combs kicked off in New York today. What you need to know as a hip-hop mogul faces the fight of his life. Closing arguments are underway in the Tyre Nichols federal murder trial. 3 former Memphis police officers are on trial for the brutal beating death of Nichols. Folks, we've been breaking down Trump's new budget blueprint, which of course slashes education, health, housing funding, while pumping record cash into defense and border security. More Mondays continue at the U.S. Capitol today, and more arrests as those religious leaders protest the shameful Republican budget proposal. Plus, a photograph that captured a generation of hip-hop legends and a cultural legacy still unfolding 25 years later. Nelson George will be here to discuss how he's turning a photo with the great Gordon Parks into a documentary. Also, a white woman calls a black kid the N-word, and the racists raise hundreds of thousands of dollars for her. In tonight's Fit, Live, Win segment, we'll take you to Atlanta for Heels for ATL, a movement changing how black folks see fitness and community as hundreds run up heels together. Wait till we show you and talk to you about this. Folks, it's a lot we're gonna break down. Plus, we lost 2 legends, Clarence Smith, co-founder of Essence Magazine, and PGA golfer Jim Dent. It's time to bring the funk on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, roll, y'all. It's Roland Martin, rolling with Roland now. He's funk, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now.
Folks, in New York City, the federal trial of Sean Diddy Combs has officially begun. That's right. Remember, he was indicted last year on a significant number of charges, including racketeering, sex trafficking, transporting individuals for prostitution. Judge Ann Subramarian and the prosecution and the defense all, of course, made it clear during jury selection today what the stakes were. It was again, a huge day. There were a couple of times that Diddy actually turned down a plea bargain from prosecutors as recently as Friday. 150 potential jurors were questioned to determine their qualification to serve 4 accusers, including R&B singer Cassie Ventura, are expected to testify. Cassie has stated that she will use her real name in court. Sean Combs maintains that all sexual encounters were consensual. His legal team argues that he is the target of unfair prosecution and racial bias. Opening statements are scheduled for next week, and the trial is expected to last at least 8 weeks. If convicted, Diddy could face life in prison. I want to go to my panel. Dr. Julianne Malveaux, economist, president emerita, Bennett College, author of Surviving and Thriving, 365 Facts in Black Economic History, joining us from D.C. Dr. Omekongo Dibinga Sr., professorial lecturer, School of International Service, American University, author of Lies About Black People, How to Combat Racism, out of D.C. Glad to have you. Look, here's the thing here. Julianne, when you talk about this, first of all, it's shocking that this has moved this fast. I mean, I know some other folks who have been indicted on lesser charges, and it's taken them 2 to 3 years to get to court.
At the same time, he has been incarcerated all these months, and I think that puts some pressure on to move this quickly. But to be honest with you, Roland, I hate to say I don't care. I do care, but it's not with the idiot in the house that enslaved people built. This is not number one on my list of priorities. I feel badly for the brother, but it seems like he did a whole lot of dirt. And hey, let the chips fall where they may.
Well, it's not a question on Mokongo of what's number one on the list. I mean, the reality is, even with Trump being in the White House, I mean, life still goes on. There are going to be trials, there are going to be arrests, there are going to be all sorts of different things going on. And the reality is, this is a huge story. You're talking about one of the most impactful figures in hip-hop music in the last 25 plus years, not just music, but also in fashion and so many different areas. And Sean Combs impacted the careers of a lot of people. This is a major, major trial.
This is huge, and it's important for the country. It's important for the rule of law and all of that stuff, of course. But it's really important for our community. This is, coming after the R. Kelly trial. This is another opportunity for people in our community who have done terrible things against members of our community, particularly Black women and young Black women, young Black men and boys, possibly boys as well. I don't know. We'll find out with this trial. Who have done terrible things by our community and have been allowed to get a pass, literally rolling for decades. We blasted their music. They rose to the top of society, soundtracks and deals, Pepsi, commercial deals, all of these things. Diddy was on top of all of that. He was the untouchable star. And he got off of other charges, the gun possession thing, all these other type of things. And this is an opportunity, hoping that everything goes smoothly in terms of the people are able to testify, get their stories out, are not harassed, intimidated, and so on and so forth. I think there's a lot of other guys in the industry who are probably shaking in their boots right now as this trial's getting to start. But we need to use this as a moment for us who are in hip-hop, who are quote-unquote elders in hip-hop, to make sure that we're using this as an example to take control of this industry, to make sure that we're setting an example for future generations of artists as well as listeners of hip-hop to know that they'll be protected and respected. Maybe not so much in the lyrics. Hopefully that can change too, but at least in these physical spaces, because so much has gone on in our community. I was listening to LL Cool J's Big Ol' Butt came on the other day. And like the second verse of that is about him picking up girls at a high school, right? You listen to BBD, Do Me, the backstage, underage, adolescent, how you doing? Like, there's been so many things that were normalized as part of the culture as it relates to being involved with young people. But then Diddy took it to a higher level with everything that he's accused of in terms of physical abuse, Cassie, and all these other issues. So this could be a great reckoning for us in hip hop, and we all should pay attention.
This is the New York Times story here. It said many of the potential jurors said they had been exposed to the case on television, at the gym, through water cooler talk among coworkers, via comedian, making jokes on Instagram. That exposure was not necessarily disqualifying, as long as the potential jurors, who are not being identified by name, said they could decide the case based only on the evidence they saw in court. Quote, "You understand that Mr. Combs is presumed innocent," the judge asked one potential juror, who said she had heard about the case on the radio and had been aware of Mr. Combs' music and celebrity since the 1990s. Absolutely. At one particular point, one of the jurors asked the judge for a restroom break, and the judge expressed hesitance. Mr. Combs spoke up briefly. "I'm sorry, Your Honor, I'm a little nervous today." Those were the only words it was quoted as speaking today. And then regarding the Cassie tape, one potential juror said, quote, "It was upsetting to watch, but I don't know the full story." You see here, some of the questions were more tailored to the case. Did potential jurors have experiences with artists in the hip-hop community that could jeopardize their impartiality? How about allegations surrounding commercial sex workers, which is a core part of the government's case? And see, right there, that really, and this is the thing that it's going to be very interesting to see how this case unfolds and how the prosecution chooses to proceed. As I said, Julian, Sean Combs turned down on a couple of occasions a plea deal from prosecutors. And you have commercial sex workers. That's what they do for a living. So it's going to be very interesting to see how the prosecution lays this case out, saying that this somehow was illegal that took place when they're in the business of sex.
You know, I have to rethink my earlier answer and yield to Omakongo's greater wisdom in terms of contextualizing essentially what this has meant. And whether they're sex workers or not, they don't deserve to be beaten. They don't deserve to be imprisoned. And the notion that it's young girls, it's not grown women, as Cassie is, but it's young girls that this man has preyed on. So, I mean, I think I'm just impatient with this because there's so many, to me, there's just so many other things going on. So my patience is thin. But at the same time, I do think that the way that this case plays out will say a lot about our culture. The other thing that I think is important, as you point out, Roland, is that the federal government has now thrown the sex work thing in there. No matter what happens, and he's turning down a plea deal, A, maybe because he thinks he's going to get off, but B, perhaps because he thinks that without, even with a plea deal, he'll spend 20 years in jail. He's going to spend 20 years in jail. This is a relatively young man in his 50s who will spend the rest of his life in jail. But I do think that there's a whole lot going on here that we need to deal with in terms of how this plays out. Again, I will start by saying I am impatient with this, and so many other things happening, but this is very important. So, Omakongo, thank you for recontextualizing that for me.
Omakongo, he's 55 years old, and the reality is when you look at this particular case here, listen, it is going to expose a lot of people to the underbelly of Hollywood and the music industry. And just for people just to understand context, because this is the mistake that a lot of people make, and I need people to be very mindful of this when people are having these conversations. I don't want people to somehow operate from a state of mind that, oh my God, look at this here. Look at what's going on here with Diddy and these what is called freak-off parties. This is the exact same New York Times. Former Abercrombie CEO ruled unfit to stand trial for sex trafficking. Michael S. Jeffries had been accused of luring male models to secret sex parties. He has dementia, and a judge ruled him to be mentally incompetent. And he's the former CEO of Abercrombie & Fitch. And of course, he's 80 years old. He was indicted in October. On charges that from 2008 to 2015, he coerced dozens of men into sex with him, using his position as the clothing retailer's chief executive to sexually exploit models who were motivated to advance their careers. he had pleaded not guilty. And it says, working with his romantic partner, Matthew Smith, and a third person, James Jacobson, Mr. Jeffries lured the men to secret sex parties with the possibility that they had received modeling jobs. Federal prosecutors said Mr. Smith and Mr. Jacobson have also been charged with sex trafficking and, like Mr. Jeffries, have pleaded not guilty. According to prosecutors, the men that Mr. Jeffries and his co-defendants coerced were not allowed to leave the sex parties, along with being forced into sex. They were made to consume alcohol, drugs, and Viagra. The charges echoed claims made in a class action lawsuit brought against Abercrombie in 2023 and reported on in a BBC investigation. And I'm reading that because, again, what often happens when these cases, people, oh my God, look at this here. Oh, this is bringing black people down. Now, here's a white man who was 80 years old, who was accused of essentially the exact same thing. And so I need people to understand that this is not an indictment on black people. This is not an indictment on hip hop. This is not an indictment on music. This is literally the entertainment industry. And we've seen stories like this, Hollywood, music, fashion, across the board.
Yeah, I'll be honest. When the Me Too movement started to really pick up, Weinstein and Cosby and so on and so forth, I was actually very dismayed at the fact that I felt like hip hop got a pass. Like, I can't think of any major hip hop artist during that particular time when Me Too was really, really popping that got put on any of these charges, right? And then, the R. Kelly documentary and stuff came out. I mean, this stuff has been going on for a while, but hip hop finally kind of came out unscathed. And now this is not the issue anymore. And so you're absolutely right that if people who are consumers of hip hop, who are part of the hip hop community, who love hip hop, if they put his accusers first, then they should be able to look at this as some form of objectivity. If they keep looking at this as, oh, this is like when Cosby tried to get NBC and all of a sudden all of these allegations came out, they're going to continue to be, jaded by what's going on. There's going to be a lot of information that's going to come out. And I think some people who are kind of still in denial are concerned that maybe some of their guys are going to come out who they like. And they got to put up their front now to kind of save face with this all. I mean, when you're talking about issues of trafficking and all of this, Diddy didn't go to anybody's house, I'm assuming, and grab somebody. There were people involved, his bodyguards, his team. So it takes a whole network of people to do things that this man is accused of doing. And so we do ourselves a disservice if we give it off of just, I didn't even know about the Abercrombie case and what you just read. So we do ourselves a disservice if we just talk about conspiracy theories, especially, I'm mad that this stuff didn't really hit the fan until people had to see the video with Cassie for stuff to really hit the fan.
But actually, this actually didn't hit the fan even with the Cassie video. What happened? What happened was it was the lawsuit that dropped in the New York Times on a Thursday. It will sell the next day. That's what changed it, and so that's what happened. And again, it's another story. Again, look, I follow the news. I just need people to understand what we're talking about here. Go to my iPad. This is Peter Nygaard. Peter Nygaard, huge in the fashion industry, was sentenced to 11 years in prison in Canada for sexually assaulting 4 women at his company's headquarters. He's still facing trials in Montreal, Winnipeg, and New York. This story here is from September 2024. He basically was accused of doing the same thing Jeffrey Epstein was doing. He actually had an island. He actually had his own place in the Bahamas where people talked about the wild sex parties and things along those lines that actually happened at his home there as well. Again, when you see this story here, the prosecutor in Canada said Peter Nygaard is a sexual predator. He is also a Canadian success story gone wrong. Nygaard, 83 years old, and again convicted, and is still facing trials in Canada and the United States. And so so let me be real clear for people who are watching and listening. This is not about, this is about making excuses for Diddy. No. I want our people to understand, don't get caught up in this nonsense of black pathology. Because, and it's going to happen. And I guarantee you, you're going to watch white mainstream media, and you're going to see them talking about this here, and somehow they're going to make this an indictment on black people, on hip hop, on young artists. I just showed you two old white men. Two old white men, 180, 183, who were accused and one convicted of the exact same thing that they are targeting Diddy with. And so I just think that perspective is important, and a lot of folk won't actually do that, but knowing how white mainstream media works, I can actually see them trying to make this about black people and hip hop and rappers and things along those lines, as opposed to what happens within this industry. All right, folks, going to a break. We'll be right back. More to talk about on today's show, including all of these racists coming to the aid of a white woman caught on tape calling a black child the N-word, and they have given almost $1 million to help her out. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
Coming soon to the Black Star Network.
In France, me and Tony, and accidentally went to the Louvre, right? I had never been, and I saw a side door. And we got off the little bus. I said, come on, let's go to the Louvre. I mean, I'm just like, let's go to the Louvre, right?
We're here.
This black girl is at the door with this white guy, black African girl. And she says, oh my God, Vanessa Bell Calloway. And I'm like this, you know me? And come to find out we were at the wrong door. But she said, I'm gonna let you just go in here. But I was in Paris, France. And that shocked me. She knew my name, she knew me. She knew my movie. You know, so it's like, you just gotta, they say, build and they will come. Put it out there, people will find it, they will come.
Hey, what's up? It's Sammy Roman.
Hey, it's John Murray, the executive producer of the new Sherry Shepherd Talk Show.
It's me, Sherry Shepherd, and you know what you're watching, Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Folks, a Tennessee jury heard closing arguments today in the high-profile state criminal trial of 3 former Memphis police officers charged in the brutal death of Tyre Nichols. Tadarius Bean, Demetrius Haley, and Justin Smith Jr. all face serious charges, including second-degree murder, aggravated assault, aggravated kidnapping, and official misconduct and official oppression. Testimony concluded with the courtroom revisiting the events of January 7, 2023. That's when Nichols, a 29-year-old black man, was pulled over, pepper sprayed, and ultimately beaten just steps from his home. The jury saw a video of the officers punching, kicking, and striking Nichols with a baton as he called out for his mother before leaving him handcuffed and slumped against a squad car for more than 20 minutes without medical aid. Nichols died 3 days after the beating from blunt force trauma. Former officer Desmond Mills Jr., who took a plea deal, testified he regrets not stepping in to stop the assault. He admitted to striking Nichols out of anger after accidentally pepper spraying himself. Mills and another officer, Emmett Martin, have already pled guilty to federal charges. You know, we talked about this here, this case last week, folks, and again, not just this case. We need to understand what is happening in the United States when it comes to police brutality. Right now, 2 blocks from us, sitting in the Oval Office, is somebody who supports thugs, somebody who supports officers. Remember, we had Megan Cundiff on, and we talked about the case of this Los Angeles County deputy sheriff who was convicted. Let me say it again. He was convicted of beating her. She was an innocent bystander. She was videotaping. Well, remember we told y'all on this show, remember we told you to be very careful, because we said what was going to come down is that Donald Trump was going to do something. Do you now realize in that particular case that the U.S. attorney, post-conviction, is offering a plea deal.
Wow.
I remember we warned everybody what was going to happen. Remember, they asked for a 3-month extension so he could review the case. The judge, like, what the hell is there to review? The man was found guilty. He said, no, we moving forward with this. Well, this U.S. attorney offers a plea deal. Go to my iPad. Now, federal prosecutors have resigned because of that plea deal. This is the Los Angeles Times. Several federal prosecutors, including the chief of the Public Corruption and Civil Rights Section, have submitted this is the LA Times, have submitted their resignations following a plea deal offered by the new U.S. attorney in Los Angeles to a sheriff's deputy who had already been found guilty of using excessive force. Two sources confirmed to the Times that Assistant U.S. Attorneys Eli Alcaraz, Brian Fairstein, and Section Chief Cassie Palmer resigned from the office over a post-trial plea agreement filed Thursday in the case of Trevor Kirk, an L.A. County Sheriff's deputy who was convicted of a felony for assaulting and pepper spraying a woman outside Lancaster supermarket. This deputy sheriff was relieved of duty. He was found guilty in February of one felony count of deprivation of rights under color of law and faced up to 10 years in prison. Under the plea deal filed Thursday, which still requires approval from a judge, he will serve a maximum of 1 year in prison. The government agreed to recommend a year of probation. This is still the LA Times story. In June 2023, Kirk was responding to a reported robbery when he threw a woman to the ground and pepper sprayed her in the face while she filmed him outside a Lancaster Winco. While the woman matched the description of a female suspect Kirk had received from a dispatcher, she was not armed or committing a crime at the time he first confronted her, court records show. Under the new agreement, Kirk would plead guilty to a lesser included misdemeanor violation of deprivation of rights under color of law. If the plea is approved by the judge, according to the agreement, the U.S. Attorney's Office would, quote, move to strike the jury's finding that Kirk injured the victim. Ome Congo, this right here is a perfect example. This is all Donald Trump. Donald Trump's Department of Justice does not believe that cops should go to prison. Donald Trump has said he's going to give them 100% immunity for doing their job. He issued the executive order last week to protect them financially. I need people to understand that Donald Trump is giving cops a pass. The only reason this is this is a federal trial. Donald Trump has no jurisdiction over the trial in Memphis, state trial. Can't get involved in that. Federal, he can. I'm telling you right now, Ome Congo, I'm telling you right now, write it down. If this judge rejects this plea deal, matter of fact, even if he accepts the plea deal, I guarantee you, I will put $1,000 on it that Donald Trump is going to pardon this deputy sheriff.
Wow. Wow. It's, sometimes you're motivated and you're inspired. You're doing this work every day. We're fighting. And then sometimes you get these stories that just take you down, a notch. And this is kind of one of those because it's just another reminder of what this man is doing, not only to protect cops, but to protect white supremacy at all levels. When you couple this with programs that they're getting rid of in schools that work with black kids, because they say they want to right a historical wrong, the way they're gutting civil rights divisions. This is part of it. This is also a DOJ that got rid of all of its investigations into white supremacy in the police and in the military. So they want this. They want to reward this in every way, shape, and form. And people need to really buckle up for not even what's coming, what's already here. You're talking post-trial they're doing this. How many trials are they going to go back and do this to? And how many judges might be down with this? How many prosecutors, might be, cool with this? Like, okay, yeah, maybe. This is what literally attacking the rule of law looks like. And it's happening from the place that's supposed to be the head of law in this country. This is scary. This is going to be happening across the country if it's not happening already. And we already have in Texas where, Abbott's, pardoning people on state levels. This is what Trump is going after in every way, shape, or form. And people were so happy when Matt Gaetz didn't get the job and they picked Bondi instead because she was going to be the sane one, the better one. She is the same instrument doing the same thing. Yeah. And people need to be on notice.
This right here, Julian, this is the U.S. attorney who Trump appointed. This says Trump ally and rising California GOP star Essayli is named top federal prosecutor in L.A. That's him right there. He was a member of the California Assembly. His name is Bill Essayli, okay? This is him right here. This is the man who wants this cop to get off. This is the man who asked for the delay. And see, the reason this is important because you got some Negroes out here, Julian, and I love it when they love talking trash about me and, oh, you a Democrat shield, and all they end up doing is making excuses for Donald Trump. What these individuals are doing, and it's happening before our very eyes, is that people don't understand it. This is going to reverberate against black people.
Yeah.
I need people watching to understand, and I'm trying to warn y'all. This is what we tried to warn people about before the election. That's right. All of that energy to combat police abuse. Mm-hmm. Donald Trump is saying, black people and everybody else, do not bother calling the Department of Justice. We're not taking your phone calls. We're not going to file any civil rights claims against these cops. We're not going to prosecute these cops. We're not going to do anything against these cops. We support these cops. In fact, Trump is saying we support these cops beating people. We are down with their heinous actions. What did we go through last week? What did we tell people last week about this? We were very clear about we were very clear. This was the executive order that he signed on April 28th. Strengthening and this is the key word, unleashing America's law enforcement. And in section 2, this is the most important thing. All of those shakedowns Donald Trump has done against these major law firms, this is where it shows up. The Attorney General shall take all appropriate action to create a mechanism to provide legal resources and indemnification to law enforcement officers who unjustly incur expenses and liabilities for actions taken during the performance of their official duties to enforce the law. This mechanism shall include the use of private sector pro bono assistance for such law enforcement officers. Nowhere in this executive order does Donald Trump give a damn about the victims of police abuse and brutality. He's saying, I am prepared and ready to protect the cops.
No question, Roland. I mean, but we know this. Getting millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars of pro bono services from these law firms, we all had to be asking, where were these services going to go? Now we see the deal with the executive order. But he's spoken many times to law enforcement, decrying the fact that they're under scrutiny. This is an extension this is lynching culture 2.0, where basically you say you can do whatever you want to somebody and expect no consequences. And if there are consequences, that the federal government will do what it has to do, what it can do to protect you. Pam Bondi, she's spoken to this. They've all spoken to this. It's criminal, but this is what I just saw some of your merch, and they had a FAFO hat, and I'm gonna give me one because this is what people voted for. And now to see, you never see this violence solely visited on Black people. In order to do this to Black people, you have to do it to other people. So you're not having white people, Latinos, Trump voters, understanding that they come for us in the morning. If they come for Black folks in the morning, they're coming for you at night, and they are coming for them. And that's not what they voted for. FAFO, simply FAFO. The challenge to it, of course, is it spits in the face of the rule of law. It ignores the notion of any kind of due process. The jury went through a deliberation. We lift up juries. We say we care about them. They went through a deliberation, and now they're saying, well, yeah, maybe we'll do a plea deal after the fact. That makes no sense at all. But what makes sense is that the police are being given essentially a green light for brutality, and there are very few in government, certainly not in the Department of Injustice, who are willing to push back and say, oh, hell no. And that's what needs to happen. I expect, we're coming up on summer, or maybe we're in, I don't know. We expect to see more street violence, and we also expect to see more police officers indemnified before they even have a process on this.
Well, first of all, Congo, they already are. They already are, and they already get legal support. But Trump is just saying point blank, no, we good. We good. Y'all can do whatever you want. And I'm laying this out because I need people to understand the climate that we're living in. The climate that we're living in. We told y'all how this thing was going to be unfolding. We said it the last time this thug was in the Oval Office. Now what you're seeing is this thing now on steroids. You now are seeing not only cops unleashing, being emboldened. You're now seeing other folk emboldened. You are seeing the absolute craziness that takes place. You're seeing how these people are treated. Take the case of this Shiloh Hendricks, okay? Shiloh Hendricks. Now, some of you have seen the video of Shiloh Hendricks attacking a Black child. Caught on video, having no problem at all being absolutely racist in these attacks on a playground. Let me show you this video. I know a lot of y'all have seen it, but I want you to understand how the racists are just jumping out of the woodworks. Watch this.
Did you call the word? It is my business. You call him a Okay, why don't you have the boss to say it right now again? Fuck you, All right, that's what you say.
You're not digging through people's shit, you dumb fuck.
Nobody digging through your shit.
A little fucking kid just did, you dumbass.
That little kid, you call him a little child?
What if he acts like one? He's gonna...
Are you about to hit him? You chase him here?
He took my son's stuff.
So that gives you the right to call the child 5 years old the N-word.
If that's what he's gonna act.
That's what you're gonna call him.
That's what he's gonna act like.
You know, that's a hate speech. And you can be recorded for that.
I don't give a shit.
Huh.
Fuck off.
Okay, we'll see about that, what the internet has to say about you.
The guy who's shooting that says, we'll see about that, what the internet has to say. Now, this wasn't the only video. There was a different video. Okay, so watch this one here.
Call him a child? Did you call the child the word?
Yeah, spoiler alert. While I censor it, she uses...
Now, again, this, of course, is, you see this gentleman, he does a lot of these videos breaking these things down. Now, she is attacking a kid while she's carrying a kid. But I want y'all to understand what's going on in terms of how the racists are just so excited by this. Then you have again, the racists like Matt Walsh, of course, of the Daily Wire, and he's an absolutely white supremacist. He has no problem supporting racists. So listen to what he talked about.
It is, in the end, a net positive that this woman has raised $500,000. I'm glad she has. I hope she raises $1 million. I will not be joining with some of my conservative friends in wagging my finger at her donor. And I'll explain why. First of all, she does have a legitimate need for the money. The mob is truly trying to get her killed. I don't believe that a woman should have her life threatened for saying a word, even a bad one. And you could say freedom of speech, but not freedom from consequences for your speech, all you want. But if losing your livelihood and having your house burned down is a consequence of your speech, then you do not have free speech. Supporting free speech means supporting someone's ability to speak without having their family murdered for it. Okay? I mean, that should be pretty obvious. Second, more importantly, and the part that I really need everyone to stop and think about. This is the most devastating attack on cancel culture that we have seen, possibly ever. Shiloh Hendricks has, without really trying, effectively ended cancel culture. As Mark Dice said in his video about the incident, Shiloh is the final boss of cancel culture, or maybe rather the final boss that cancel culture has to fight. And I think that's right.
Here's what we have to understand on the Congo. These racists love this because they're like, oh yeah, we're winning. We now get to call you, we get to call you the N-word. We get to call you any of these things. And you know what? We're going to stand up and support our fellow bigots. We're going to come to their aid. We are going to do whatever is necessary to support them, to back them up. And the number is, somebody put right here. Someone said, this tweet is, Shiloh Hendricks doubles down after winning the racist lottery. Okay? And then you see right here where she is, she got no problem with her post at Anglo-Saxon girl using the N-word. And look at this here. Help me protect my family. My name is Shiloh, and I love this here. I have been put in a very dire situation. I recently had a kid steal from my 18-month-old son's diaper bag at a park. I called the kid out for what he was. That's the N-word. Another man who we recently found out has had a history with law enforcement proceeded to record and follow me to my car. He then posted these videos online, which has caused my family and myself great turmoil. My social security number has been leaked. My address and phone number have been given out freely. My family members are being attacked. My eldest child may not be going back to school. Even where I exercise has been exposed. Now, in this post here, you see, and this is supposedly a Christian platform. The goal is to raise $1 million. It's at $334,000. My understanding, it's exceeded $700,000. So the racists and the bigots are saying, oh, no. We've got to protect this fellow racist. We've got to protect this bigot. We've got to have this bigot's back. So by God, we are going to make as much, we're going to sit here and raise as much money as we can. They're on this platform called Give, Send, Go. That's where they've been raising the money. And give me 1 second, because I want to pull this up. So folk can understand how these racists are doing. And again, they're being aided by conservative media. Conservative media is loving it. Now, here's what's crazy. If you go on here, you type her name in, you literally see legal, emergency, family, medical, emergency. you see all of these. I mean, you see all of these efforts to raise money for Shiloh Hendricks. Now, the question is, what's legitimate? But we do know about $700,000 has been raised. That's what's crazy. These races are coming together and saying, yeah, here we go. One of our own. That's right. That bigot used the N-word. We got her back 100%.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you brought up the GoSendMe platform, because other platforms have no problems canceling donations and returning the money when something is found to be controversial. And I'd be very surprised to see what would happen on this website if somebody put up something that was deemed anti-Semitic. Would they cancel that? I'm very skeptical as it relates to that as well. So the hypocrisy is real, because they on there, they basically said, we don't, make judgments and so on and so forth. I would like to know where the caretakers of this child are, and if they're filing any lawsuits relating to child endangerment or something, because they're going to need to have some money raised for them as well. This was the same situation we saw with Daniel Penny in New York, and that whole situation. And now he's working for a Trump, a Trump billionaire. This idea of just what did Dr. King say? You can't legislate morality, but you can regulate behavior. This idea that this behavior is just going to be allowed and be platformed and people are going to be able to make money off of it. She's probably a future Fox contributor. This goes right in line with how you came back from the break in terms of talking about the police officer. White supremacy is being platformed in every way, shape, and form. And I am not I don't even know, I haven't followed this enough to know if all of those things she's talked about are actually happening. Right. The only thing missing from her was the white tears, right?
Oh, no. First of all, look, you got them. This is the actual, they've raised $677,258. 25,413 people have donated. And you see right here, you see the list of donations, and look at her, where do I even begin? The overwhelming support that my family and myself have received is unbelievable. I have never felt so scared yet reassured in my life. It's truly a whirlwind of emotions. You're a racist. This woman is no different than the White Citizens Council. She's no different than the hooded Klan folks. Oh, so you're now scared to death because somebody exposed your racism and your bigotry. And now you're mad that, oh my God, I'm being attacked. But you had no problem attacking the young boy with the N-word. But this is what Donald Trump has unleashed in America.
That's right.
Julian, go ahead.
Without question, but this is what he said he was going to do. This is what he did last time around. This is what he did when he forced Mayor Bowser to paper over the Black Lives Matter sign. This is who he is. And all these used to be closet racists have been given permission to behave like the jackasses, excuse my language, that they are. He's given them permission to do it. And basically, they have gone wild, gone amok. One of the things I think you said earlier, or someone did, she's holding a child in her hands, in her arms, and attacking a child. What is she teaching the child that she's holding in her arms? He is going to be the third or fourth or fifth or sixth generation of racists because she showed him what is acceptable. He's going to go to the playground and call a little boy who beats him at a game, the N-word. He's going to, we can't say what all he's going to do, but he has the worst kind of role modeling. And quite frankly, the Child Protective Services needs to come and get her child because she's unfit to raise a child. And that's what needs to happen. We have to fight back. Now, this is one case out of, I don't know how many, but this is startling, and it's startling. It makes you want to lay hands on somebody. Where you say she was again? What her address?
First of all, there's an open case. There's an open case in Rochester, Minnesota, where this took place. And here's, now remember, you have two things going on here. Congo. You've got this. You've got the story out of Texas that we've covered as well, where Austin Metcalf, the white kid, was killed, and the black kid was charged. Both are students. But what's interesting here is there's this one person who goes by BIPOC something. This is literally what his tweet was. It's official. We won. So here's what they did. They showed how much has been raised to help the racist Shiloh Hendricks, and then they're comparing it to Carmelo Anthony, the young black kid who was charged with killing Austin Metcalf, and $520,000 was raised for his defense fund. But this person goes, "It's official, we won." Then when you go to this person's Twitter feed, they got 200,000 followers. They go by Christian colonizer. I screenshot in QT hateful, violent, ignorant, and racist tweets, hate and extremist content. X team, yeah, but you support racists. And then when you go underneath here, again, if y'all want to if you go underneath here, you're going to see all of these racists in their comments, and you're going to see all of the things they have to say, because this is who they support. And people need to understand, they are literally supporting bigots and bigotry. And I'm telling you right now, Donald Trump has absolutely, I mean, look at this person. We have raised over $120,000 in a few hours. This has sent a thermonuclear missile into the Overton window. Big credit for assisting all of these people. Again, going by independent journalists, this is who they are. They are openly supporting bigotry, and they got no problem doing so, because they know one of their own is sitting in the Oval Office. Their own is at the Department of Justice. It's in every facet of government. They've got Stephen Miller. It can go on and on and on. Racist, white supremacists, white nationalists are in control of the federal government. I'm a Congo, and then Julian.
Period, bottom line. Period, bottom line. You brought up Carmelo Anthony. Last time I checked, it was his family that had to move because of threats that they were getting. And, you know, we see stories like this across the country where black families get attacked in some way, either physically or on social media. We are not the ones threatening to burn people's houses down. We are not the ones doxing people and having people do SWAT activities on people's homes. We are not the ones who were doing that. And so this whole story actually makes me more concerned for that child and his family and what's going to happen to them. Someone's going to put their information out there as well. And that's why these stories are important to get out there, so people know that we have to protect them. We are the only ones who are going to be able to protect ourselves, because we are dealing with a racist government. We're dealing with a racist president who, as you said, at least 6 times today already, unleashed these people on us. They want the violence, they want the hate, they want the smoke. The fact that you're going to compare someone on a murder trial to a racist lady, you know, calling a child this, is barbaric and disrespectful. I had a kid in my class who said that my class taught him that he was a racist because he was thinking about all of his experiences growing up. And he said when he was 5 years old, he remembers watching TV with his uncle, and his uncle said, "You see that person on TV? That's an N-word." Like, he was getting that so young. And for people who thought that we've come so far and these new generations are so open-minded and so on and so forth, more of these young guys are MAGA, more of these young guys are racist, and more of these folks have no problem openly putting it out there and making money off it. And these companies are out there supporting it. I don't think she's lost a job. I don't think her kids have any problems going to school. And this is part of the problem as well.
Julian?
Congo has nailed it. I mean, what we have going on here is racists have been given permission to be racist. There was a time when racists kept it underground and undercover. They might use the N-word around their friends, but they would never use it in public. They would never identify with it. You know, they might grouse about it. But now, hey, all bets are off. The hoods have come off. They don't have to wear hoods anymore. The Klan is out. This woman is one of them Klanettes or whatever they call them. And shame on her. But she doesn't have any shame. To even put up a GoFundMe page suggests or whatever they call it, go, 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 suggests that she has no shame. And all these people who are sending in the comments and the dollars have no shame either. And what it does say to me is that we have to, Black folks have to be ready. You know, if we must die, let it not be like hogs, said Claude McKay, hunted and penned to this inglorious spot. That is where we are, hunted and penned. But he concluded his poem, If We Must Die, and said, pressed to the wall, dying, but fighting back. We must always fight back. This woman, I can't even tell you what all needs to happen to her. But it's not her personally, it's the lynching culture that has made it okay for a woman, a relatively young woman with a child in her arms. Why would you expose your child to that level of hatred? Why would you do that?
Easy, because because it ain't no different than the people who invited their children and had them standing out there lynchings. You know this.
Exactly.
This is who they are. This is what their life is, and I just need people to understand that they're not going anywhere because they are being emboldened. They're being emboldened by the person sitting in the Oval Office. Got to go to a break. We come back. We're going to show you religious leaders protesting what they call is an immoral budget by Republicans. They get arrested at the Capitol. Moral Mondays hits the U.S. Capitol. Rep. Bishop William Barber repairs of the breach. We'll show you when we come back. Folks, don't forget to support the work that we do. Listen, the conversation that we have, and I'm just telling y'all right now, this is so critically important, what we're talking about here, because what we are seeing is going to continue. We have been warning. In fact, just so y'all understand, I saw somebody had posted a tweet. And if y'all want to understand why it's important to support this show, here's a perfect example. This is the tweet here. Somebody posted, they are concerned about the declining birth rates of white people. We know what they mean. Thanks to Stephanie Rule for highlighting this. You would think they'd be more concerned with air travel now as planes can't fly and airports are a mess. And this person, hashtag Dems United. This was my response. We've been highlighting this in Roland Martin Unfiltered since 2018. Also my book, White Fear, in 2022. Hell, I can go back to 2009 when I first started talking about declining white birth rates. See, if y'all want to follow media that figures this stuff out late, y'all can go keep watching mainstream white news. We have been ahead of the curve on so many stories because we're paying attention to what is happening on the ground. So when you support this show, when you support this network, you are supporting. Listen, the advertisers not flocking. Oh, you turn on Fox News, you're gonna see all kind of major ads. They do not want to support black-owned media. And unfortunately, in black-owned media, it's too much emphasis on hair, beauty, entertainment, and sports, and not enough on the news stuff that's happening every single day. But you help us build this out right now, and I'll pull it up just so you understand what we're doing right now. All this is being changed. If you go to Black Star Network, right now it's set up really as our app, but I'm completely having the website overhauled, and it's going to be a news and information portal. We're shooting a pilot in a couple of weeks for a business show. We're doing all sorts of new things, and so trust me, we're making this stuff happen because we're building out black news and information. And I want to be as clear as I possibly can. I know lots of entertainment. In fact, you saw the promo on Wednesdays. We're going to run it right after I finish this here. I got my interview with Vanessa Bell Calloway. So we do some entertainment, but I'm not doing it every single day. I'm not doing gossip. I'm not doing reality shows. I don't care what celebrity is sleeping with somebody. I don't care who had a baby. I don't care who came out. I don't care who they're divorcing. I don't care who they're engaged to. Because there's a lot of places you can get that covered. Plus, that's their personal business. I don't believe that we as the public, I don't believe that we should know everything about somebody's life. That's their business. But there has to be a place where news and information is central and is important. And that's the case for this show. That's the case for this network. So we've had 35,000 donors contribute since we launched this show. on September 4th, 2018. And so we want you to join that list. You want to give to us via Cash App. A lot of you have been emailing me. I told you, Cash App changed their rules just out of the blue. Because of the type of corporation we are, they closed down our Cash App accounts. But you can contribute to us via Cash App using the Stripe QR code. You see it right here. If you're listening, go to blackstarnetwork.com. You want to see your check and money order, make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered. Went to the mailbox today, had about 200 of your checks and money orders. Folks, P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C., 2003 7-0196. PayPal's R. Martin Unfiltered. Now, when y'all go there, it's going to say New Vision Media. That's us. That's the parent company, so don't freak out. Go to Venmo, RM Unfiltered. Go to Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. If you want to get our gear, please do so. Get our swag, our new shirt. Matter of fact, Keenan, we're changing the FAFO shirt. And so we're going to change that. We're going to have Project. We're going to have Project crossed out. And then probably what I want, I sent Keenan a text. What I'm thinking about is have a hashtag. We tried to tell you, and it's going to be FAFO, and we're going to have, I think, Project underneath it in red with an X through it, and then below it's going to be 2025. So we're working on that design. I'll let you know when we have it ready. Here's our other shirts. Y'all really love Don't Blame Me. I voted for the black woman. And so get that at rolandmartin.creator-spring.com. The QR code's there as well. And remember, when you buy our merchandise, that money comes back into the show. When you get my book, White Fear, How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds, that money goes right back into the show. And so, again, you can get it at all the bookstores. You can also get it, the audio version, Audible. And we're working out for you to be able to buy the book directly for me to autograph. Now, I know that's opening Pandora's box. There might be a whole bunch, but I'm working through how we can actually service all of those books. All right, folks, I'll go into a break. I'll be right back.
On the next Get Wealthy with me, Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, we're talking about the difficulty of being able to acquire wealth for Black Americans. My guest, Emily Flitter, is the author of The White Wall: How Big Finance is Bankrupting Black America.
The bad stuff that you feel when you're dealing with the financial services industry is not your fault. It's not your fault, and you don't deserve to be treated like this.
That's right here on Get Wealthy, only on Black Star Network.
Coming soon to the Black Star Network.
In France, me and Tony, and accidentally went to the Louvre, right? But I had never been, and I saw a side door. And we got off the little bus. I said, come on, Tony, let's go to the Louvre. I mean, I'm just like, let's go to the Louvre, right?
We're here.
This black girl is at the door with this white guy, black African girl. And she says, oh my God, Vanessa Bell Calloway. And I'm like this, you know me? And come to find out we were at the wrong door. But she said, I'm gonna let you just go in here. But I was in Paris, France. Mm-hmm. And that shocked me. She knew my name, she knew me. Mm-hmm. My movie. Mm-hmm. You know, so it's like, you just gotta, they say, build and they will come. Put it out there, people will find it, they will come.
Hey, what's up? Geek Tony in the place to be. Got Kicked Out Your Mama's University, creator and executive producer of Fat Tuesdays, an air hip-hop comedy. But right now, I'm rolling with Roland Martin, unfiltered, uncut, unplugged, and undamn believable. You hear me?
Bishop William Barber, repairs of the breach that continue bringing moral Mondays to the United States Capitol. Their focus is what they call an immoral document. That is the budget that the Republicans are advancing. And it was storming today. It did not hold them back. This is what took place today.
We are here. We're doing a roll call on all that has supported us and continues to support us. This list goes on and on. This represents millions of people. The AME Zion repairs of the breach, the AME Zion Church, National Council of Churches, Christian Church Disciples of Christ, Sojourners, Red Letter Christians, United Church of Christ, Ohio Council of Churches, Presbyterian Church USA, Black Voters Matters, National Urban League, National Council of Jewish Women, Fellowship of Reconciliation, the Nation's Mosque, and many, many more. So while we are here, we will not bow, nor will we be bought, nor will we back down. While we have Moral Mondays, we gather because silence is not an option. We gather because injustice is not abstract, it's legislated. We gather because faith does not belong only in the sanctuary, it must walk into the halls of power and cry out for justice. Why Moral Mondays was born from a holy unrest. When political leaders began passing laws that hurt poor and protect the powerful, when they prayed in public but punished the vulnerable in private, when budgets become weapons and policy becomes persecution, we answered with this what our sacred traditions demand. We demand a public witness, prophetic resistance, and moral action. Amen. We do not come to do protest itself. This is not a photo op opportunity. We come because our sacred text cries out, woe to those who decree unrighteous decrees. Let justice roll down like waters. Whatever you did for the least of them, you did also unto me. That's why we have Moral Mondays. That's why that you are here today, because budgets are moral documents. Because poverty is not a personal failure, it is a policy choice. Because righteousness is not partisan, it is a prophetic mandate. And because we know that, it is moral to confront the immoral. We are called to the depths of our conscience. Let every heart turn toward heaven and every foot be ready to march. Let every voice of conscience be stirred. How? Why do we stand together? Together we arise shoulder to shoulder, pastors and prophets, imams and Muslims, rabbis and cantors, monks and Dharma teachers, Sikh gurus, indigenous elders, Hindu priests, humanist leaders. We stand not as enemies of the state, but as guardians of the soul of this democracy. He says, woe to those who legislate evil, who write budgets that rob the poor, who trample the widows and the orphans on the bureaucratic boots, who codify cruelty and call it economic prudence. Budgets are moral documents. We testify that what a nation loves, what it fears, and whom it's willing to sacrifice. And this budget that they're trying to pass is a shameful story. And it may be written in ink, but it bleeds. It bleeds when Medicaid is slashed and 36 million risk losing care. It bleeds when SNAP is cut and 40 million face hunger. It bleeds when housing assistance dries up. It bleeds when Head Start is gutted. It bleeds when bombs are funded but babies are deported. It bleeds when Medicare and Social Security are endangered. It bleeds when 14 million full-time workers earn poverty wages. It bleeds when unions are crushed and billionaires hoard votes. It bleeds when the child tax credit is rolled back. It bleeds when Social Security Administration is starved, leaving our elders to plead for dignity. It bleeds when Wall Street gets wealth and Main Street gets crumbs. This is a physical restraint. This is policy murder. And so we're exposing the lie here today. They say we can't afford it, but they can find walls and not welfare. They say cut the waste, but they protect corporate loopholes and golden parachutes. They say personal responsibility, but they punish the already burdened and downtrodden. So we lift up the truth today. To every elected official, you were not crowned, but you were commissioned. Amen. Not to preserve status quo, but to protect the common good. Do your job. Do what you were promised. Do what is right. And this is a call to the prophets, to every preacher, imam, rabbi, elder, monk, and teacher. This is not a time for quiet pulpits. This is an hour of sacred confrontation. This now is the time to bring our sacred text to the steps of the Capitol. Now is the time to to cry out aloud and spare not one of them that says be silent. Now is the time to sound the trumpet and show this nation what its sin is. And because the powers and principalities know that when the prophets pray, the empires crumble. And if prayer is criminalized, then we must turn our public witness into an uncompromising movement of moral defiance. We got to begin to have a rallying cry. So now I say to you, clergy, elders, youth, workers, teachers, nurses, and neighbors, do not wait for the right moment. This is the moment. This is the moment. Do not wait to be invited. You have been commissioned. Do not wonder if your voice matters. It does, because you are a moral witness. So if they arrest the prophets for praying, then let the prayers become thunder. If they criminalize compassion, then let our conscience become unshakable. If they legislate violence, then let us legislate love in pulpits, in the courtroom, in the streets, in the Capitol, and in every chamber. Raise your voice. Raise your voice. Raise your voice. Forward together.
So, folks, they had the initial protest outside, and then they went inside. Here are a couple of videos on the repairs of the breach Twitter feed. So check this out.
Right now, you text of this Congress proposed budget. A resolution soaked in cruelty, masked as fiscal responsibility. It proposes $1.5 trillion in cuts to life-saving programs, to Medicaid, to SNAP, to housing, to Head Start, all while shielding billionaires and building tax.
They're going to be doing this every single Monday. Keep in mind what took place with Moral Mondays in North Carolina, the impact that they had there. And then this is really about challenging power and calling religious leaders to step up. Unfortunately, these white conservative evangelicals, they are cheering this document that makes massive cuts to the poor and the disenfranchised.
Roland, the worst thing about this thing is that the budget that the man who lives in the house that enslaved people built, what he has submitted adds money to defense, adds money to war, and takes money away from the safety net, which already was fraying. The worst thing about this particular document that has been submitted is that no one has asked Doge to go look at the Department of Defense. How much money are we wasting on so-called defense, which we can call offense? So the level of hypocrisy, if you got people, bean counters, going in to say you have too many people working at USAID, you have too many people working at the IRS, come on now. But no one has gone in to say there are too many people working at the Department of Defense. So not only is the document an abomination, a vexation, and a slap in the face, but the document also shows our hypocrisy. You talk about fraud, race, and abuse, and this man still wants to have a multi-million-dollar parade. So right on Reverend Barber, of course, and all the repairs and the Moral Mondays, which did make a difference in North Carolina. But let's be very clear, just like the racists who use the N-word with a child have no shame, this budget has no shame.
On the Congo?
It's evil. You know, it's just evil, what it is that they're doing. I'm glad that you shared this story, you know, after the last segments we were watching, because, you know, seeing the solidarity always gives me hope, you know, on many different levels. In addition to what Julian was saying, however, in terms of the things that they're trying to do in this budget, like Elon Musk just got a town in Texas, like commissioned, right? Like they are doing Star, whatever, Link City, whatever it's called, like they are doing everything to just give themselves more and more and more. And we can't talk about cuts to the Defense Department because these cuts that they were doing, they weren't based on money, they were based on ideology. go against USAID because Elon Musk is a racist and comes from South Africa and hates Black Africans, right? Like, go against USAID, go against Meals on Wheels. Like, that's where the real money is for the budget, right? Go against Head Start. That's where the real money. This is all about ideology in terms of what they're doing, in terms of their tax, quote unquote, reform. These are gifts to the rich. And it's important that we continue to call this out. And it's important that we continue to come together. What the sister was saying as she was preaching, it's very important that people across the spectrum, we only hear about, Jews and Muslims as it relates to people going against each other in Israel and Palestine. But we know that there are people who are of all backgrounds who are coming together to fight evil wherever they are seeing it. And that's not going to make it on the news tonight. Reverend Barber's not going to be on MSNBC or CNN or these other networks tonight. What happens at the Capitol is not going to be there tonight. But that's why I said in the last segment, it's up to us to make sure we get this out, to show the people what's happening. And that's going to help people realize that they're not alone. So kudos to Reverend Barber and everybody who was out there doing this work today and all the other days.
Folks, the twice impeached, criminally convicted felon-in-chief Donald Trump, again, in unveiling his fiscal year 2026 budget blueprint, lays out dramatic shift in spending, big increases for defense, homeland security. So let's talk about these cuts. If Congress approves, Trump's plan calls for a 13% increase in defense spending, putting the defense budget over $1 trillion. Remember I told Cenk Uygur that they were not going to cut defense, and he's running around talking all these conservatives? Cenk, we tried to tell you. The blueprint also proposes a historic $175 billion investment to fully secure the border, including $43.8 billion for the Department of Homeland Security to ramp up deportations and finish the border wall. The budget also slashes $163 billion from non-defense discretionary spending, a 22.6% cut targeting education, environmental protection, public health, housing, foreign aid. The proposal also seeks to eliminate diversity, equity, inclusion initiatives, environmental justice efforts, and what the administration calls wasteful grants. That means black people. Education, the chopping block. The plan will cut nearly $12 billion from the Department of Education and funded for some student aid and campus support programs, plus close the Federal Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant Program entirely. Also, international assistance will be slashed by more than 80%. The remaining funds will be consolidated into a new America First Opportunity Fund under direct presidential control. Congress will ultimately decide what gets funded, but Trump's blueprint makes clear that his second-term priorities are historic military investment, aggressive border security, and the deepest domestic spending cuts we have seen since Ronald Reagan. This is the reality. Now, while this is happening, this idiot is talking about the good parts of the economy while blaming Joe Biden for the bad parts. He sat down for the interview with Kristen Welker on Meet the Press. And if y'all want to hear somebody who is utterly delusional, listen to this idiot.
I want to start on the economy, sir, which obviously the biggest issue for voters. We got new numbers today, better than expected job numbers.
Much better.
At the same time, the economy shrank in the first quarter. You've been arguing all week that this is President Biden's economy. Is this now your economy, sir?
Well, I think certain aspects of it are. Costs are. I was able to get down the costs, but even that, it takes a while to get them down, but we got them down good. We lost $5 to $6 billion a day with Biden. $5 to $6 billion. And I've got that down to a great number right now in a record time. You know, we're talking about 100 days. But just think of what that is. $5 billion a day we're losing on trade. And we were very tough with China, as you know. We put 145% tariff on. Nobody's ever heard of such a thing. And we've essentially cut off trade relationships by putting that much of a tariff on. And that's okay. We've gone cold turkey. That means that we're not losing. You know, we lost $1 trillion to China. $1 trillion. That means we're not losing $1 trillion when we go cold turkey because we're not doing business with them right now. And they want to make a deal. They want to make a deal very badly. We'll see how that all turns out, but it's got to be a fair deal.
When does it become the Trump economy?
It partially is right now, and I really mean this. I think the good parts are the Trump economy, and the bad parts are the Biden economy, because he's done a terrible job. He did a terrible job on everything, from his auto pen, which I'm sure he knew nothing about some of the things he was supposedly signing.
But, sir, you acknowledge when you announced your tariffs, for example, the stock market dropped. It's been volatile. It has since gone up.
It is,
Do
but
you
now
take
it's going up.
responsibility
Look at
for that?
today.
Yeah. Do you take responsibility when it drops?
Ultimately, I take responsibility for everything, but I've only just been here for a little more than 3 months. But the stock market, look at what's happened in the last short period of time. Didn't it have 9 or 10 days in a row or 11 days where it's gone up? And the tariffs have just started kicking in. And we're doing really well psychologically. I mean, the fake news was giving me such press on the tariffs. The tariffs are going to make us rich. We're going to be a very rich country.
So the good parts are his. The bad parts, oh yeah, that's Biden. Okay. In the same interview, he was like, you know what? If there's a recession, it's fine. Listen to this. You talk about this crazy, I don't, the man's nuts.
Are you comfortable with the country potentially dipping into a recession for a period of time if you are able to achieve your long-term goals?
Well, you know, you say some people on Wall Street say, well, I can tell you something else. Some people on Wall Street say that we're going to have the greatest economy in history.
Is it okay in the short term to have a recession?
This. Look, yeah, everything's okay. What we are, I said, this is a transition period. I think.
Are you comfortable?
Leon, yeah, it's okay to have a recession. You're an economist. How brain dead is this fool?
Well, I don't think we have words to describe the level of stupidity that this man is bringing to the table, especially when he talks about it's okay to have a recession. And also in that interview, he talked about maybe the little girls would not have 30 dolls. They would have 2 or 3 and they would cost more. I don't know any little girls who have 30 dolls. Even my own very indulged little Julianne gets books from me, not dolls. But this man does not live the way that people live. So while he's poo-pooing a recession, because it doesn't affect him, it affects people who make less than the median income. Median income, half above, half below. The median income is less than 60 grand. So somebody who makes less than 60 grand is going to feel the increased cost of groceries, is going to feel recession, is going to get laid off. You know, so while he's talking, I mean, I framed the column, Roland, by saying the Reagan question, are you better off? The question we could ask, are you better off than you were 110 days ago? And many, many people would say, no, they're not better off. So he's okay with the recession because it's just going to cause a little pain for people in the $200,000 a year plus bracket, enormous pain for people who are at below the median income. That means half of all Americans are going to feel it some kind of way. In addition, what he's advocating is economic chaos. And that's what we're living with, is chaos. People don't know what to do. You know, do you want to buy your car now or you want to wait? Our price is going to go up. He can't even get it straight. First, he says there's not going to be a tariff on automobiles. Then there's only going to be a tariff on automobile parts. Well, you need the parts for the car or if you need repairs. So basically, people who are driving are going to experience increased costs. And we can go down the list. I don't know who his economic advisors are, but they are not making any sense. And the consensus now of most economists, from the Wall Street Journal on, the consensus that we have a better than 50% chance of experiencing a recession. And some say we're in one now. But of course, it's not going to hurt. But it's not going to hurt.
You've got the recession issue, and also this idiot does not care about the Constitution at all on the Congo. Listen to this.
Your Secretary of State says everyone who's here, citizens and non-citizens, deserve due process. Do you agree, Mr. President?
I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know.
Well, the Fifth Amendment says
I don't know.
as
It seems it might say that, but if you're talking about that, then we'd have to have 1 million or 2 million trials. We have thousands of people that are some murderers and some drug dealers and some of the worst people on earth. Some of the worst, most dangerous people on earth. And I was elected to get him the hell out of here, and the courts are holding me from doing it.
But even given those numbers that you're talking about, don't you need to uphold the Constitution of the United States as president?
I don't know. I have to respond by saying again, I have brilliant lawyers that work for me, and they are going to obviously follow what the Supreme Court said. What you said is not what I heard the Supreme Court said. They have a different interpretation.
Is anyone in your administration right now in contact with El Salvador about returning Abrego Garcia to the United States?
I don't know. You'd have to ask the attorney.
Boy, it's a whole lot of I don't knows because he's an idiot. You take an oath to swear to uphold and protect the Constitution of the United States from enemies, foreign and domestic. Congo, when it comes to the Constitution, the greatest domestic enemy is Donald Trump.
And just imagine any president that's lived in our lifetimes saying something like that. And we should not be surprised because this was a man who, while he was running in the election, said that we should suspend the Constitution because of how the election was stolen and how the election was rigged. And this is what Harris warned us about multiple times on the trail, that any man who says this about, any person who says this about the Constitution, all of the ways he attacks it in every way, shape, or form, has no business being in that office. How do you have a president saying, I don't know if I'm going to follow the Constitution or if I'm supposed to? That for Trump means I'm not following it because he's not following it now. And to say, well, and the way to, it's dangerous in any profession to have somebody who only takes all of the credit and none of the blame, whether we're talking about education, finance, the army, like the military, whatever it is. So it's most dangerous with the president. But this is a man who never takes any responsibility. And whenever confronted with something, he got confronted with a fund that was supposed to help 9/11 victims earlier today or yesterday. He's like, I don't know anything about it. How long are you going to tolerate this, America? How long are we going to, I don't know anything about our way through this whole presidency? And when these shelves start going empty in May and July and people can't get their fireworks and people can't get their $2 that he's talking about, maybe that's going to be the time where people are going to start speaking up and challenging us, because this man just sounds like Scrooge. He's so out of touch. But the way he can just feign ignorance on everything whenever confronted, and the way that people let that slide, a lot of stuff we talked about in the last segment primarily affects Black America. This segment right now that we're talking about, this is going to hit everybody. His ignorance, his disrespect, his lack of knowledge of the law, and straight up lying, because he could actually read the Supreme Court decision himself and see exactly what it says, but he's only listening to Stephen Miller and Pam Bondi, and that's why we're screwed on so many levels right now.
Indeed, indeed. All right, folks, a couple of other things jumped out, some breaking news. U.S. District Court Judge Richard Myers has ordered the North Carolina State Board of Elections to certify the 734 vote win for Democratic Supreme Court Justice Allison Riggs. This is a tweet from Brian Anderson. It rejects all of Griffin's election protests. Judge stays order for 1 week so Griffin may appeal. This is the motion right here by the judge. This has been ongoing since November. Riggs won. Griffin's been trying to get some 65,000 votes thrown out. And so that's what you see that's been happening here. So we are following this, see what's going on here. Also, folks, St. Augustine's University continues to try to figure out how to get out of their jam. And what are they facing? Another lawsuit. That's right, another lawsuit. This just continues to go on and on and on and on and on and on. While that's happening, they're also seeking land deals to help them out of their financial situation. They're looking for $70 million in bridge financing, actively seeking partners to help develop parts of its campus. They've been burdened with debt, facing financial challenges. Last year, they reported they had cut approximately $17 million in expenses for the fiscal year. 2024, the operating budget for the 2022-2023 academic year was around $35 million to attract investors and developers. School officials are issuing a request for a qualification. So we'll keep you abreast of what happens with what happens there with St. Augustine's. Just more drama. All right, folks, got to go to break. We come back. Writer, author, producer, documentarian Nelson George is working on a crowdfund for a new documentary based off an iconic photo of Gordon Parks. We'll tell you about that. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
This week on the other side of change.
Mass incarceration, Trump administration is doubling down on criminalization, and how it is profitable.
And there's something really, really perverse about saying that we need to put people in cages in order for other people to have jobs. Like, that is not how our economy should be built.
Only on the other side of change on the Black Star Network.
Coming soon to the Black Star Network.
In France, me and Tony, and accidentally went to the Louvre, right? But I had never been, and I saw a side door. And we got off the little bus. I said, come on, Tony, let's go to the Louvre. I mean, I'm just like, let's go to the Louvre, right?
We're here.
This black girl is at the door with this white guy, black African girl. And she says, oh my gosh, Vanessa Bell Calloway. And I'm like this, you know me? And come to find out we were at the wrong door. But she said, I'm gonna let you just go in here. But I was in Paris, France. And that shocked me. She knew my name, she knew me. My movie. You know, so it's like, you just gotta, they say, build and they will come. Put it out there, people will find it, they will come.
We begin tonight with the people who are really running the country right now. Now, Trump is often wrong and misleading about a lot of things, but especially about history. Donald Trump falling in line with President Elon Musk.
In the wake of the unsettling news that MSNBC has canceled Joy Ann Reid's primetime show, The Readout, Roland Martin and the Black Star Network would like to extend an invitation to all of the fans of Joy Ann Reid's MSNBC show to join us every night to watch Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming on the Black Star Network for news, discussion of the issues that matter to you, and the latest updates on the twice impeached, criminally convicted felon-in-chief Donald Trump and his unprecedented assault on democracy, as well as co-president Elon Musk's takeover of the federal government. The Black Star Network stands with Joy Ann Reid and all folks who understand the power of black voices in media. We must come together and never forget that information is power. Be sure to watch Roland Martin Unfiltered weeknights, 6 p.m. Eastern at youtube.com/Roland S. Martin or download the Black Star Network app.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol, we've seen
We're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm Devon Frank.
I'm Dr. Robin B., pharmacist and fitness coach, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Folks, the battle continues on Capitol Hill against what we're seeing as the crazy, deranged leadership of Donald Trump. You've had, of course, today, Hakeem Jeffries, Democratic House leader, speaking again on what is happening. And it's very interesting to me. People keep saying they need to see more from Jeffries fighting back, which sort of is confusing to me because there are limited powers in the House. So when you talk about fighting back, well, what do you actually mean fighting back? What exactly what more can they actually do to quote fight back? So that's just I don't really understand what that means. But one of the things you also see happening, these town halls taking place all across the country, and Republicans, they really are running scared. They really are running scared because you've got constituents who are showing up in these spaces, and they're mad that they have to actually take their messages. And so in some places, they are restricting them from even for people even showing up, because how they're framing this thing is, oh, the people who are showing up, you know, they really aren't, you know, all voters. They're being paid to be there. But it's a whole lot of people who are showing up, who are constituents, and the Republicans just actually hate the fact that they have to answer to them. And so those are the things that you're seeing. And so Democrats are doing all they can in terms of, especially Leader Jeffries, talking about these various cuts. Today, he held a news conference on Capitol Hill. This was about about a couple of hours ago. And so here's some of what he had to say.
Washington, in his farewell address to the nation, made the important observation that the Constitution is sacredly obligatory upon all. That means everyone in the United States of America has a responsibility to follow the Constitution. That includes presidents of the United States of America. That includes you, Donald Trump. There is nothing unclear about it. Why does Donald Trump make such ridiculous statements? Like he's unsure as to whether he has a responsibility to follow the Constitution. Why is the Republican Party stuck with Marjorie Taylor Greene as their candidate for the United States Senate seat in Georgia? Why is the top thing that House Republicans going to do this week on their legislative agenda renaming the Gulf of Mexico? It's because Donald Trump and House Republicans are on the run. They're on the run. They're on the run with respect to the economy. They are crashing the economy in real time and driving us toward a recession. Donald Trump and House Republicans have nothing good to say about the economy. They promised to lower costs and to drive down the high cost of living in the United States of America. Costs aren't going down. They're going up. House Republicans haven't passed a single bill that has anything to do with lowering the high cost of living in the United States of America. Not a single bill, no executive order, no administrative action coming from this administration. They're crashing the economy in real time, driving us toward a recession. Donald Trump and Republicans are on the run with respect to the economy. They're on the run with respect to health care. They want to enact the largest cut to Medicaid in American history. It's deeply unpopular, which is why they have been ordered not to hold town hall meetings.
All right, folks, we actually streamed all of that, so you could check that out on the Black Star Network. It was a photograph that captured a generation in one frame. 177 hip-hop legends. And the cultural legacy still unfolding 25 years later. On September 29th, 1998, legendary artist Gordon Parks Jr. shot what many call the most iconic photo in hip-hop history, a living mosaic of MCs, DJs, dancers, producers, and pioneers standing shoulder to shoulder on 126th Street in Harlem, just steps from where jazz legends once gathered for a great day in Harlem. The author, filmmaker, music, and culture critic Nelson George wants to turn that day into a documentary, and he's leading a crowdfund effort to do so. Here is a look.
How long do you think he had those for in his garage?
We haven't looked at these, opened these up in, God knows, 30 years maybe. My name is Nelson George. I'm an author and filmmaker. I've done a number of books about African-American music in America, including Deaf Rhythm and Blues, The Hippest Trip in America, about the TV show Soul Train, Hip Hop America, and Where Did Our Love Go? The Rise and Fall of the Motown Sound. In addition to that, I've done a number of documentaries over the years that have focused on African-American achievements in America, including Say Hey Willie Mays about the great baseball legend, and Thriller 40 about the making of Michael Jackson's landmark album. Now I'm embarking on a long overdue project, which is to document the making of this incredible photograph that was shot by Gordon Parks. This is arguably one of the most famous photographs in the history of hip hop. And I was there that day, along with a film crew documenting that day. There's been bits and pieces that have ended up on the internet, but there's a lot more content that everyone's ever seen, including myself. After many, many years, I have found these digital video cassettes, as well as one little 8mm cassette that captures the day that Gordon Parks took that photograph. This is actually a camera that I used to record a lot of the activities leading up to the photo shoot. What I'm trying to achieve ultimately is not just to do a document of a great photograph, but to sort of contextualize that photograph in the history of hip hop. This was 25 years into the history of hip hop. And most profoundly, we're in the aftermath of the murders of Tupac Shakur and Christopher Wallace, which had a profound impact on why so many artists wanted to participate in this sort of picture of unity. I need your help in getting this project off the ground and to hopefully honor all of these different threads of American history that occurred in front of 17 East 126th Street in Harlem, USA.
Well, those of us who shoot lots of video, Nelson, seeing you going through those mini DV tapes, trust me, I know that experience very well, trying to digitize that stuff. You know, I posted some video, in fact, over the weekend. Normally today I'll be playing in George Lopez's celebrity golf tournament. This is the first time in 17 years he hasn't had it. I first played in 2023. You know, it's funny because I posted some stuff on my Instagram page, and folks are like, I remember all the dudes like, man, you always shooting stuff. You always got that damn camera. In one of the videos, Chris Tucker's complaining, and I'm like, yeah. And y'all always the ones 10, 15 years later saying, yo, man, I wish I can get some of that. And so just talk about, okay, were you just shooting just to shoot, or was it a project you were trying to do and just abandoned?
Well, it's more or less, I was at that point where I really was interested in being a director. I had done my first kind of short film about a year before that in '97. I said, okay, I'm a journalist by training. Okay, how do I make this transition? And then a woman named Leslie Pitts, who was my publicist at the time, said that she was helping organize a photo shoot of rappers on the same street in the same building in front of that the Great Day in Harlem photograph was taken with the jazz musicians. And I said, well, that sounds fantastic. So I went to XXL Magazine, who were organizing the photo, and said, look, I don't have no paper, but I'm willing to hire a crew of shooters to document the day for you. And so along with, I think it was me and two other film crews, we had a little 8mm camera. So I had the intention of trying to make something of it. I think what's interesting, Roland, is the context. This was 98, right? Like I said, Biggie and Tupac had died the 2 years before. The narrative around hip hop was very much about East Coast, West Coast rivalry, violence, and what the footage reveals is the brotherhood that truly existed among people in hip hop. And in fact, the murders had galvanized. There were people. Jermaine Dupri was there from Atlanta. Luther Campbell was there from Miami. Who was Mac 10 and a bunch of people from LA were in town. They all came to Harlem to be part of this photograph because they knew the narrative around their culture had been hijacked, and they wanted to correct it. And so that's why they were there, and that was part of what the film documents, is this remarkable day of brotherhood, which is almost like the Million Man March of hip hop.
You know, I was having a conversation with someone, and we were just talking about, both of us are journalists, we were just talking about, I go back to, so my TV One show started on Washington Watch, that was 2009. And so now, you're talking about, so that's 16 years.
Right.
And the amount of black stuff that I've covered in that phrase, and he said to me, you probably have more black news stuff than anybody else because you had all these different things.
Right.
And the thing that people don't understand is that stuff like this, mainstream has no interest in. Stuff, this day in hip hop, these things, I'm not trying to diminish that day. What I'm saying, things like this happen all the time, meetings and gatherings and conversations that never gets talked about. Luckily, we're not living in a social media world where nearly everything is being documented, but we're talking about a period where you didn't have Twitter, didn't have Instagram, you didn't have entertainers who are walking around with their own crews, shooting their own stuff. So to be able to have this and to tell this story, I mean, it just sort of reminds me of, you know, Questlove and the Harlem documentary that won the Oscar, and folks are like, that existed? That happened? Yeah, it's a bunch of amazing things that happened that folks never heard about because it just didn't get covered.
Well, I mean, so much of our culture is undocumented. I mean, it's interesting when you think about it. There's a million. How many Beatles documentaries have there been done?
Oh my God!
You know what I mean? How many Elvis documentaries have there been done? And there's relatively speaking, there's really very few real documents of black music history, despite its iconic nature.
And even fewer done by black people.
Well, I mean, you know, it's a funny thing. One of the things that motivates me a lot is that a lot of the work that's been done covering black music history was done by Europeans.
Yep.
You know, the BBC's done a ton. I've been interviewed by the BBC more than I've been interviewed by BET. You know what I mean? Over the years. So, but you're right. There's a lens which is a lens of love and a lens of affection, but also a lens that's kind of fractured because it's not coming from a black point of view. So when I rediscovered this footage, the opportunity to document, and not just the moment that this happened in '98, but I think to me the opportunity is to put hip hop in a historical context. And when you look at the footage, Questlove is a young man, Common's a young man, Mos Def and Khalid Talib, young. They're all like their first or second album in the game. Now we look back 25 years,
right,
more or less. Who are they now? How do they look back at that journey?
Right.
Also in that crowd were originators. DJ Hollywood, who I saw in Harlem in 1978. You know, a Kool Herc, who I saw in the Bronx in 1978. These people who had started it were still around and still, you know, performing. So the document, this day was in the middle of that history.
Well, if you're talking 98, the OGs were only in their mid-30s.
Yeah.
So you had mid to late 30s, and then you got this next wave. So really what you were there to witness the bridge, if you will.
Yes.
Not the passing of the baton, but literally the originators and the next generation and the people who we now call the OGs, as you said, they were kids.
I'll tell you a funny thing. The funniest moment in the whole thing is trying to organize 177 MCs, dancers, to get organized was a mess. I mean, Gordon Parks was not having it. The person who was most effective in organizing the group turned out to be Kool Herc, who is generally acknowledged as the originator of hip hop from 1973. So the fact is that he, at that point, had such respect within the group.
Right.
I doubt that any of the kids who are making hip hop now know who Kool Herc is.
So hold on. So I want to go back to that. So was Gordon Parks there to specifically shoot this photo?
Absolutely.
All right. And now, was this a summit? Was it a meeting? Was this photo at the end of a long dead collaboration? Was it like what was the gathering for?
So XXL magazine was a young hip hop magazine, which make their name. They had just been out maybe a year. So the source is super established. Vibe magazine has Quincy and Time Warner's backing. They were trying to make a name for themselves. So someone had the idea, well, the spot they shot that 1958 jazz photo, if we gathered rappers there, that would be iconic. If we got Gordon Parks to do it, it would even be more iconic.
Right.
And really, Parks' willingness to participate, I think, was crucial in making so many people show up.
Right.
After the photo was taken, there was a line of MCs with photo books of Parks, with different memorabilia, getting his autograph. He was, because Parks' connection to Harlem goes back to 1948.
Right.
When he shot for, the first thing he shot for Life magazine was a portrait of Red Jackson, a black gangster in Harlem in 1948. That's how far back his connection goes. Then, of course, there's Shaft, which was a seminal movie for everybody in that picture, right? So the fact that Gordon Parks was there documenting their movement, that was a seal of approval that everyone could relate to.
So all these folks there, Gordon's trying to get them, and he's at wit's end because what are they doing? Are they just laughing, talking, joking around? And
it was the biggest hip hop networking event of all time.
So he's there to shoot this photo, and he is not trying to be there all day.
Oh, well, here's the other part of the story that the film documents. They wanted to shoot the photo, let's say, around 1 o'clock. But trying to organize all of those artists, get them organized on those steps, as you watch the photo, when you see the photo, you notice there's a dark line that's up on most people's chest.
Right.
That's because they were losing the light.
Wow.
If they had not gotten that photo, they basically barely got the photo in. And what's funny, here's an example of what happened. They're waiting to shoot the photo. They're trying to get it organized. Run of Run DMC is late. Run comes up the block, and obviously he gets a big ovation because he's Run. And he's a hero to so many people. But Run wears his trademark hat. He's not in the final picture because that trademark hat blocked out his face.
Wow.
Because the light was coming so far. I'll tell you another thing we have footage of. There's one person who was late for I hate to say this because I don't want to make fun of her, but Lauryn Hill was late.
Okay, go ahead.
And so the organizers are trying to wait until she arrives, but she comes just after the last photo's taken. And so she drives up in a red car, driven by Rohan Marley, actually. And, she missed it.
See, first of all, so you're first of all this is also why I love backstories because it's stuff that you never even know about. So you want to do so you're purposely choosing to crowdfund. Right. Your goal is to raise 85.
Right now,
go ahead.
Yeah. My goal is to raise as much as I can. I don't necessarily think we'll get that number, but
No. Hold on. No. See, Nelson.
I'm wrong, huh?
No, Nelson. Hold up, bro. Nelson, you don't quite understand this show.
Okay.
First of all, we don't say that. Okay.
I love that.
No, Nelson, we don't say that. On March 4th, when we covered that night, Tiffany Lofton said, we're trying to get these Florida A&M students to this conference. And I said, how many students? She said 35. I said, okay, you sit over there and you tell me how much y'all need to raise. She came back, said need to raise $49,000. We raised $84,000 that night. Wow. So no. So you're trying to raise, somebody on the YouTube chat said, tell them, Roland. All right. So your goal, it says flexible goal. You're trying to raise $85,000. Is this to get it started?
It'll do a number of things. Number one, this summer we want to shoot a ton of interviews. We want to shoot people who were there. We want to get Fat Joe.
Okay.
We want to get Q-Tip. We want to get Slick Rick.
So what do you need? So to do that, what do you need?
I need money.
I know that, but what I'm saying is, do you need crews? Do you need like what?
No, I mean I have an editor. I pretty much know in terms of executing that. I'm ready to go. It's just a matter of, booking talent and editorial, because we have all of this great art. We have 7 hours of archival footage.
Got it.
But going through all of that, organizing it, and then getting the new footage, that's going to take time.
Got it. So your interviews, let's talk about your interviews. So what, are you straight with camera gear? Are you straight with all of that? Are you trying to...
I mean, I'm open to hearing from we're going to shoot in New York and Los Angeles.
Okay.
So I'm open to see DP's reels. That's going to be key. Who's going to shoot the interviews for us? Obviously, in terms of crewing, looking for sound people. So yeah, I mean, I'm open to hear people sending me their resume.
See, hold on. See, Nelson. The only reason I'm saying this here, Nelson, right there, we got 7 cinematic cameras. I'm only going through this here because what you're trying to raise. Because we're sitting in a 5,800 square foot studio 2 blocks from the White House. And so you're doing this crowd fund. And so that's why I'm curious to know how you're trying to build it out. So you're going to be shooting New York, LA. You're trying to do these interviews this summer. How many interviews are you trying to target to do?
Oh, I think at least 20 to 25.
Got it. And so, and obviously artists who were there that day.
And also people who were, like, for example, one of the people we're going to interview is a guy named O'Neill McKnight, who is Andre Harrell's cousin.
Got it.
The late Andre Harrell's cousin, who's one of the people who snuck into the photo. So
he snuck into not the photo shoot, in the photo.
Oh, he's in the photo. Yeah, he's standing. You can see his head popping up in the back. So I mean, so that's part of the story. People who got there and snuck in. The woman who owns the building, 17 East 126th Street, is a really interesting woman. And what's interesting about this, the jazz photo, go back to 58, right, is that started a whole thing. The idea of Great Day, there's photos that have been taken in London. There's photos that have been taken in LA. There's photos that have been taken in Denmark. That tradition of the Great Day that started on that block has continued on. In fact, Bill Clinton, when he moved that office to Harlem back after he left the presidency.
Well, actually, just after the Republicans refused to fund the office in Manhattan, then he chose Harlem. Go ahead.
He did a photo shoot with a Harlem baseball team and a bunch of activists in Harlem in front of the same building.
Gotcha.
So it's that building itself and Harlem. I tell you one thing that's interesting about that I want to get at also in the film is Harlem itself.
Right.
When you look at the actual 58 picture, the buildings look a certain way. 98, the place is wrecked. That building is jacked up.
Mm-hmm.
Its hole is, there's no windows. Now that block has been gentrified.
Yep.
And in fact, the building that we used back then in 98 to house everybody and organize it is gone. The church is gone. Now it's a condo. So it's also a look at Harlem itself through this prism. So we're definitely going to do some location shooting in Harlem and interview some of the people who still live there. So for me, it's a chance to document American history.
Yep.
And when everyone says, well, it's Black history, it is that.
Yeah, but it's still American history.
Gordon Parks is an American icon, period.
Indeed. Questions from our panel. Ome Congo, you're first.
It's an honor to talk to you. I'm a big fan. I teach global hip hop and resistance, and so we're always watching the work, up at American University. And so I'm hoping you'll come down to our campus and screen it once it's ready. My question to you is your documentary going to look at anything relating to the artists who were in the picture who are no longer with us?
Oh, I mean, absolutely. I mean, you know, I mentioned Andre Harrell, who was one of my really good friends, and he died, during the pandemic. So Andre, Angie Stone just recently passed. Big L. There's a number of people. Yes, that's going to be. In fact, I think we'll probably end up dedicating the film to all of those fallen soldiers. Yeah, absolutely.
Julian.
Nelson, good to see you. Thanks so much for your work and for documenting hip hop. What would you say has been the enduring factor of hip hop? I mean, when it first came in, I thought it was going to go away. Being a bit older than that generation, I'm like, oh, this is just a fad. But it has endured. Why has it endured why has it endured?
I think there's two things. One is the flexibility of the medium. Hip hop is it's like a all-purpose thing. You can rhyme with a Japanese accent. You can rhyme with a German accent. You can the very medium of talking and rhythm over a beat travels around the globe. So I think that's part of it. And it's very adaptable, so that what is a good flow when Rakim did it, what is a good flow when Ice Cube did it, now it's a completely different rhythm. So, but it's still basically, the essence is talking over a beat and rhythm and rhyme. The other is the entrepreneurship part. This is one of the only mediums that really young Black people who weren't, in fact, poor kids all over the globe, not just Black kids in America, have been able to embrace this and use this as a vehicle for self-expression and to make money. I love R&B. That's where I come from. I'm a soul kid. But R&B did not generate Black billionaires and millionaires in the same way that hip-hop has. So the entrepreneurship and the trickle down of that, I mean, I'll give you a good example. I mean, I started out as I'm a journalist. Hip-hop allowed me to make movies. I've worked in Hollywood because of hip-hop. I made a lot of documentaries because of hip-hop. I've written books because of hip-hop. So it's been something that we've been able to monetize, and it almost and generated industry out of it that has employed thousands of young Black people.
Also, I will say this here. I do believe that what R&B did, what Sam Cooke in publishing, James Brown owning restaurants and things along those lines. I always look at what one generation did that set the next one up. In Luther Campbell's book, he talks about, not signing licensing deals, but selling his product in the back of the room, and how the guys after him said, yo, I can own my own stuff. And so in many ways, it was just learning the business one generation to the next, that hip hop then comes along and it's in a perfect situation. Because frankly, listen, Isaac Hayes III talks about, scratching. He's like, man, I wish the brother who created that would have just stopped right then and then start doing his own turntables. And so it's just a learning curve about how do you go from one generation to the next.
Well, I mean, the brother who started scratching was living in the Bronx and didn't have the resources at the time. But the people who came after him, beats, audio, all those kind of things that we have, the kind of entrepreneurship that hip hop has manifested has been, I think that's one reason it's managed to survive, because it has become such an integral part of how people think about entrepreneurship and owning a business. It's just, it's been a huge, I've never heard the idea of CEO became like a catchphrase in the culture.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Folks, this is so if y'all go to Indiegogo, so I want everybody who's watching right now to go to Indiegogo, INDIEGOGO. I want you to type in A Great Day in Hip Hop, the film. A Great Day in Hip Hop, the film. And so already they've raised the $85,000. They've raised 23% of the $85,000 goal, $19,940. In the next 24 hours, I want to see that at least double. And so if y'all want to see this film made, Nelson, once it's done, where do you plan to show it? Do you plan to, I mean, do you want to be on, a streaming service? Do you want to be on a black-owned platform? Are you already thinking that, or your focus right now? Let me just get the interviews in a can.
No, I'm thinking about it a lot. I want to take it to festivals first. I want this to travel around, whether it's I don't know, Sundance Con. I want to play that, and then I want to see what is the best opportunity. Is a streamer really the best deal?
Got it.
Because one of the reasons I actually wanted to start this was crowdfunding, was that quite honestly, you look at what's going on. There's been a shrinkage in the marketplace.
Yep.
Netflix, Amazon, they're not spending that money the way they used to.
Especially on docs.
Absolutely. Especially things that are not necessarily driven by youth IP. So, or big brands. So I feel like controlling this, because as you manifest on your show, there's so many different ways to monetize these days that didn't exist before.
Yep. So
I'm going to be open to see what's available. Number one is to make it and then show it to people, take it around, and then see where we go, as opposed to making a commitment.
Yep.
The old model of playing a film festival and selling it to a streamer is just now one of many ways to monetize.
Indeed, indeed. So, folks, go back to my iPad, Henry. So you see here, y'all, it's called Pick Your Perk. They have different perks here. And so for $15, film credit, $30, a digital color image, Nelson George mixtape Zine, $50, digital download of the film, $75, talk music with Nelson, a group conversation, not a one-on-one, a 30-minute Zoom, $150. Lunch and site visit with Nelson, $750. I would actually raise it to $1,500, but that's just me, Nelson. I'm just saying, that's just me. I would raise it. That'd be a little higher. Lunch and a site visit. In fact, I would push that to $2,500 and only do 10. That's what I would do. But that's just me. But for y'all, I want y'all to go to Indiegogo, A Great Day in Hip Hop, the film, Nelson George. And again, I'm going to check back in 24 hours. We're going to show this on the tomorrow show at this time. And I want to see that number at least want this to be doubled. I wanted to see at least 40,000. So y'all check it out. Nelson, always great to see you. Good
Roland, thank you so much, my brother.
I appreciate it. Good luck with this, and can't wait. And again, any way we can help, like I say, if y'all shooting DC.
Oh yes, we'll be calling you.
Like I said, we ain't got to ask nobody because we control it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Love it. Thank you,
appreciate it.
Thank you for the community.
Thanks a bunch. Appreciate it. All right, y'all. Quick break, and then we're gonna have our Fit Live Win segment. Man, these folks in Atlanta, they going crazy running this hill. It's now blown up crazy. We're gonna show y'all. We're gonna talk to them next, right here, Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
Coming soon to the Black Star Network.
In France, me and Tony, and accidentally went to the Louvre, right? I had never been, and I saw a side door. And we got off the little bus. I said, come on, Tony, let's go to the Louvre. I mean, I'm just like, let's go to the Louvre, right?
We're here.
This black girl is at the door with this white guy, black African girl. And she says, oh my God, Vanessa Bell Calloway. And I'm like this, you know me? And come to find out we were at the wrong door. But she said, I'm gonna let you just go in here. But I was in Paris, France. And that shocked me. She knew my name, she knew me. She knew my movie. You know, so it's like, you just gotta, they say, build and they will come. Put it out there, people will find it, they will come.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol, we've seen
We're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys. This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm Devon Franklin. It is always a pleasure to be in the house. You are watching Roland Martin Unfiltered. Stay right here.
Folks, it's called Heels for ATL. It's more than just a workout. It is literally a community. It's a movement, a call to action. Trainer Alvin Bailey started leading free workouts at Atlanta's Piedmont Park with one goal: to get people moving, mind, body, and soul. What began as a handful of folks on the hill has exploded into hundreds showing up every week, motivated by the energy, the music, and the mission. Of course, he joins us right now. Glad to have you, Alvin. So first and foremost, how did the idea start?
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. So the idea just kind of came about, right during COVID, trying to get back outdoors, trying to stay active, and just trying to build community at the same time. I just moved here from Miami, so trying to build community and find just, like-minded people was very important for me, and Hills was it.
And so, what day does this happen? I was on social media. I came across the video playing right now. A couple of sisters came out, and this was like a year ago. And man, you see the numbers, and it's crazy. So what day did this thing start?
Yeah, so we're here Wednesdays we got two classes on Wednesdays. So we got 7:30 a.m. and then 6:30 p.m. So we got two options, and that was actually our first class. So our first class was on Wednesday. So like now we've grown to like 5 days a week, 7 classes a week, all for free.
5 days a week?
5 days a week, every day but Sunday and Sunday, we rolling.
All right, so how does this work? Does anybody show up? Do they have to register? And what's the process?
Yeah, so basically, we do get a lot of our news out through our Instagram, but we do have an Eventbrite, and that's actually where people come and sign up at. It's an easy step, two-step process to sign up. I'll just kind of give you the ideas, the information where to park at, what to expect when you come to the class, kind of what shoes to wear, just all the good information like that. And like that link is in our bio inside of our Instagram, and that's typically where, like I said, you can register and find all the information you need.
What's the most people you think you've had running the hill on a day?
Probably between 500 and 600 for sure. So our Wednesday is our biggest class. We just started year 5, so to see the growth has been incredible. And I think, just watching it go from just a few people to now, having 500 people, on Wednesday evening is amazing.
One of the things that I'm sort of laughing about as I look at this here, the idea of running hills is not new. This is a video here of NFL player Derrick Henry, running hills. Jerry Rice was known for this. Walter Payton was known for this. And so this is something that a lot of athletes have done. Why? What makes this so different and unique than traditional training?
Yeah, you named some of my favorite athletes, and that's honestly where I first heard about it. I grew up playing ball as well myself, and I think that reading those stories about Jerry Rice and how he's running the hill and running the mountains and all these different places is definitely inspiring. I think for me, hills is one of the safest workouts you can do because of the incline. So, you go at your own pace, and it's kind of you can walk the hill and still get a great workout. Some people just walk on the treadmill on the incline, and they're still getting a good workout. So I think it's safer. I think the energy is there. I feel like when you build in a community and you get people doing it with you, it's always just adding to it.
This is and so okay. So how long are y'all doing this? Is it do you have an hour? Is it 2 hours? Is it shorter? How are you doing it?
Yeah, so our classes, all of our classes are 1 hour, so 60 minutes of fun, great energy. Like I said, it's with us having so many new people and new faces as it goes. Like we have people who've been around for 5 years, we have people who just started. It really is a go at your own pace type workout. So we go from March all the way to November. So we're pretty much almost year round.
Gotcha. So this here is this is a photo I'm showing right now of Walter Payton when he was doing his heel training, and again was very well known for doing that. And I think that this probably was the one who introduced this to a lot of people, the heel training. I'm going to go to my panel here. Now, I'm telling you right now, Julianne Malveaux ain't no way in hell she going to get out there run no heel. So I'm just letting you know. So Julianne ain't going to walk a heel. She might cuss a heel.
No, Roland.
So Julianne, go on with your question.
First of all, let me correct the record. I grew up on a hill in San Francisco. When I go home, I walk 3 blocks up the hill, 3 more blocks to get to the road, and then I walk around it.
I said you ain't running up no hill, but go ahead.
You're right about that. I will not be running up a hill. Brother, thank you for this. It's really great. To our people, we got to get in shape. We got to get ready for the war and the revolution. So question for you. So you don't, December, January, February, you guys are down. What do you advise people to do when you're not doing the hill running and walking?
There are a lot of indoor classes. So, that the F45 training, Lion Chasers, all the different gyms they have around Atlanta, people try to take full advantage of that. Then when it's time to get back outdoors, we do love them to come and work out with us when they can. Obviously it's 7 days in a week. So people also do a lot of their own routine at their home gym. And then we're just kind of our outdoor gym, So people we encourage everybody to definitely stay active. And when they come back, they're always like, oh, I can tell we've been off for a minute.
Thank you.
Again, this is a little bit more video of Walter Payton. His heel looked a hell of a lot different than one y'all run. Looked like he was running a damn landfill.
Yeah.
Oh, McCongo, go ahead.
Oh, this is so amazing. I really appreciate what you're doing. It's great to see. I wonder if you're seeing any spillover effects into the community when you all are just out and about. Are people forming communities outside of this community, especially in this time where so much negativity is going on? Has this been a source of positivity outside of the class time?
Yeah, that's been one of the best parts, honestly, and I think that's the most rewarding factor for me. I think when you're walking down the Beltline and you see people from Hills just hanging out, that they met at Hills. Even myself, I've met some of my best friends at Hills. So that says a lot about our community, and I feel like kind of meeting people in a space where, they're trying to get better and just trying to do something productive. I just feel like those relationships are meaningful, and there's nothing against, meet people out at the nightclub or whatever. But I think it says something when you meet people in a space where you're trying to get better. And I think that's how those relationships form and they stick.
So do you go to when you travel, do you go to other places looking for hills?
I do. So I started Hills because that was my routine. On Wednesdays I ran Hills. On Mondays, like where we are right now, this is our steps class, and so a few of our folks here, they're getting a little bit of extra credit. But we basically any hill I can find, it's always been a fun. I have to switch it up. I can't do the same workout every day. So for me, that's kind of where the idea birthed from. And I think that running steps one day, running hills on another, riding bikes, I gotta keep it changing so I can stay interested and keep it going.
Well, I found this video of Jerry Rice running some hills, and that's pretty damn scenic where he was running. So that's in Southern California, but it certainly is a huge workout. If folk want more information, where do they go?
Yeah, the best way is the Instagram. It's just Hills for ATL. It's HILLS, the number 4, ATL. And we're growing, and we're hoping that we can keep it going around the country, even outside the country. So we on the move, and hopefully we can get to Houston and the Dallases, the New Yorks, the DCs, all around.
So I play golf, so I ain't got a problem walking hills. I done walked many a hilly golf course, but running is yep. In fact, I played the last 3 days and walked all 3 rounds. So that's a different deal, and trust me, it is no joke. So last question: what do you advise people to do before they get up there? Because some folk think they used to be athletes. And they don't realize the older you get, you're going to have to do some damn stretching. I keep my massage gun in my backpack. So you got to loosen some stuff up before you decide to get your ass out there and think you Jerry Rice, Walter Payton, Derrick Henry running them hills.
Absolutely, absolutely. The prep is very important, and I think even getting to class, 10 to 15 minutes early, doing your own little stretch, and then when we do start, let's say if class starts at 6:30, our first 10 to 12 minutes is all warm up. So we're gonna make sure you're good and loose. But
I take it y'all got some emergency people standing by.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the great thing about our community. We have so many first responders and people that come out to work out as well. So, and honestly, people, they're like, wow, what is going on over there? And they, at Piedmont Park, we have a presence. We have all of our workouts. We have a presence there. So, that's the fun part. We want to keep everybody safe. That's most important.
There you go. So, Julian, you good. So you going out there. They got the first responders waiting on you, Julian. So
well, you ain't right. You ain't right.
You ain't right, but I ain't lying.
I take help wherever it comes from.
All right, then. Well, Alvin, congratulations. Continued success.
I really appreciate it. Thank you all for having me.
I appreciate it. Thanks a lot, folks. We're going to close the show out remembering a couple of great legends. One of them, professional golfer Jim Dent, huge trailblazer. What's so amazing? I was on a golf course Saturday, and I was talking to a brother, retired 2-star general. We were talking about black golfers, and I mentioned I was trying to remember players who on the senior tour, and I mentioned Jim Dent, and I literally go to my phone and realize that he died Friday. Longtime PGA Champions Tour pro. He started where many black golfers did, working as a caddy at Augusta National. He carried clubs for the greats. He was 6 feet 2 inches tall, 225 pounds, and he could stroke the ball. He was a long hitter, also very precise, but it wasn't just his power that made him famous. He turned that talent into a 40-year professional career, making his name on the PGA Tour and dominating the PGA Champions Tour. That's the senior tour where he won 12 times. He was more than a golfer. He was proof that you could break barriers and rewrite your own story with skill, determination. Jim Dent died Friday in his hometown of Augusta, Georgia. He was 85 years old. Folks, last week, Clarence Smith passed away. Clarence Smith was the co-founder of Essence Magazine. It was a group of black men who launched Essence Magazine, and it was Clarence Smith who many credit as being the rock among those leaders. He was someone who very much was a strong voice, driving the business perspective of Essence, partnering with others as well. He died at the age of 92 years old. Remember, 1970, the mainstream media, where they were ignoring African-American women, they launched this revolutionary magazine celebrating the beauty, power, and intellect of black women over 5 decades, turning into a cultural institution. He also convinced luxury brands like Chanel and Cadillac to advertise in Essence, creating what is now known as the black women's market, unlocking billions in economic recognition. After leaving Essence, he went on to launch several companies, a travel company as well. Clarence O. Smith, co-founder of Essence Magazine, now an ancestor at the age of 92. Omakongo and Julian, I appreciate y'all being on today's show. Thank you so very much. Appreciate it. Thank you to all of you watching the show as well, supporting us. If y'all want to support the work that we do, join our Bring the Funk fan club. The goal is to get 20,000 of our fans annually contributing at least $50 each. If you can't do that, we'll totally understand. If you can do more, great as well. We purposely do not charge a subscription fee because we want the content widely available to as many people as possible. We're on our YouTube channel, our Black Star Network app. We podcast the audio from the show as well. We break the segment into clips. We share it on all social media platforms. And so it's all about being able to push news and information out, not gossip, not a bunch of mess. We don't care about no housewives show. This is about the stuff that matters to our people and recognizing amazing people. And so if you want to contribute via Cash App, this is how you do so. Use the Stripe QR code. You see it right here. If you're listening, go to blackstarnetwork.com for the QR code. Also, if you want to send a check and money order, make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered. Roland Martin Unfiltered, P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Download the Black Star Network app, Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV. Be sure to get a copy of my book, White Fear, The Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds, available at bookstores nationwide. Get the audio version I read on Audible, which you can also do, of course. You can also get our swag, Roland Martin Unfiltered, the Black Star Network swag. You see our new shirts there. Go to rolandmartin.creator-spring.com, rolandmartin.creator-spring.com. The QR code is there as well. Or go to blackstarnetwork.com. You can also, of course, you can download the app Fanbase. Do that as well. Download the app. If you want to invest, go to startengine.com/Fanbase. Folks, that's it. I'll see y'all tomorrow right here. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Don't forget Wednesday, our Vanessa Bell Calloway interview, Rolling with Roland drops. We run it at 11 a.m. and then we do it again. It's going to stream it right after the show as well. So look forward to that great conversation.
Coming soon to the Black Star Network.
In France, me and Tony, and accidentally went to the Louvre, right? But I had never been, and I saw a side door. And we got off the little bus. I said, come on, Tony, let's go to the Louvre. I mean, I'm just like, let's go to the Louvre, right?
We're here.
This black girl is at the door with this white guy, black African girl. And she says, oh my God, Vanessa Bell Calloway. And I'm like this, you know me? And come to find out we were at the wrong door. But she said, I'm gonna let you just go in here. But I was in Paris, France. And that shocked me. She knew my name, she knew me. She knew my movie. You know, so it's like, you just gotta, they say, build and they will come. Put it out there, people will find it, they will come.